everybody. Today's episode will focus on habits of perception. As coaches, we often want to be noticing the repeating cycles of certain kinds of ways in which your client may be uh, doing things or being in the world. And this particular repeating patterns is also occurring spatially. I am deriving inspiration from Gregory Bateson's call for patterns that connect. Of course, when he talked about patterns that connect, he talked about the universe, about how different light forms are connecting with each other. And it's a question that is basically an invitation to observe and notice what is continuing and what is discontinuing, rather than something that I say, oh, this is this. Um, I am deriving some inspiration from that to help your client to be aware, okay, what is it that they are looping spatially? So our representation in space is but the mapping of an event or particular kinds of relationships or relationship to an activity or an object in our mental space. So habits of perception is pivoted around this notion of patterns that connect. It is again a very, very simple way. If you would refer to episode 4, it's if you have a problem, you map it out and you may find it located in a particular direction. Maybe it's located right in front of you and it's just big and facing you, or it tends to be on the right, tends to be on the left, it tends to be above your head level, and it has particular characteristics, right? So it's not just with problems, just with simple relationships, right? So relationships, like the relationships with the person you like, and a relationship with the person you dislike or you're irritated by, your relationship with a food you like versus the food you dislike, and an activity you like versus an activity you dislike. The pattern is very, very simple, that when you do this and you draw it out, you map out each of these locations, and you simply ask yourself or you ask your client, what is the pattern that connects this to that, to that, to that? Now, for example, supposing a client, whether they like or dislike, whether they're irritated or hate, that the mapping of the locations tends to be very much in the front, like in the center zone, right? So this is where the client is, and this is the eye vision, right? This is the eye vision, is the center zone, and they tend to be clumped around here. You can just invite their attention and say, what is the pattern that connects? Across the space, what is the pattern that connects? They may notice that it's all centered centrally, or they may notice that it tends to be all of the same eye level, or they may notice some variations that when they dislike, all that which they dislike tends to be about their head level or their eye level. And those that they like tends to be below their eye level. Some such thing. You will find your clients maybe clumping all their like activities on the left and dislike activities on the right. Sometimes you may notice that folks will say, I've had clients who say, I may have some minor irritation, nothing actually bothers me. So I'm basically here to figure out what I need to do with my goals, with da 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 da. And you just have to pay attention, right? I hope many of you will be paying attention to the language. So you will be paying attention. Okay. So they are drawing our attention to only to the future moment, to a goal, to something that has not yet happened. And they're drawing attention away from anything that has happened. And then you want to explore that. And you will notice a pattern. So if you asked about some past memory or a past event, now it can be even a pleasant event, there is not much of clarity in that. Maybe it's very blurry kind of information. Maybe it's in the back. Maybe it is far away. They tend to keep it far away. And you just notice that. Now, again, we are not in the business, we should not be in the business of attributing our meaning, that is, the coach giving a meaning to the patterns that is noticed. So the invitation has to be to the client. You're noticing you are tending to do this spatially. Uh, you tend to blur away anything that is of the past, and that is of the future tends to be very colorful in front or on the left, some such place. Um, so, what does that? How do you connect with that? What does that mean to you? What would you like to explore given this is there? These are all good questions. And because it is, again, an unexpected and a non threatening way to ask, why do I do that? Why do I tend to map my world in this way? Why do I tend to locate issues in this way? I have found a more interesting piece has been when they can detect a pattern between something or someone they like and something they dislike or someone they dislike. And there is a repeating pattern that they tend to use, say, the visual sensory organs in a particular way, that shapes tend to be bounded with, framed, tends to be framed. Or maybe that the relationships, no matter what, tends to have a lot of light. Or they may discover that there is always an auditory component, that it makes either a pleasant or unpleasant sound. So the pattern that connects is there is a sound, right? This is useful because, again, you can just bring their attention to saying, you are using this particular modality more when you are locating and you're noticing these spatial locations. What does that mean to you? And draw their attention of what they are not using. And is there a feeling involved? Is there no feeling involved? In what condition is the visual something different? You can have a lot of questions around these underlying structures, or they tend to have most of the stuff above their eye level. It's like the entire world, much of the universe is above their eye level. What does that mean? Right? Again, the temptation would be for the coach to attribute meaning, although there is a research based, some kind of a generalized kind of a notion that anything that is above your eye level and the person or the thing is looking down, you're feeling the pressure down, then there might be either you feel, the client feels that they are in a superior position, or feeling judged, or feeling less or inferior. You know, if you're feeling inferior, it does not mean you're thinking the other person is superior. So it's a little bit, it doesn't fall in that way. Rather, you consider the person, may consider a person to be just the ideal and the standard, and you may be evaluating yourself, or the client may be evaluating themselves very harshly. So the appropriate invitation would be always to ask the client, what do they make out of it? What is the meaning? And for you to be constantly noticing so that you can ask more questions. Ask if they say there is no pattern that connects, to ask about light, ask about sound, ask about, invite them to notice, look, it's clumped around this location. The last time you felt incredibly troubled by a person, that person tended to be on your right. And this seems to be a repeating pattern. What do you make out of it? So these habits of perceptions are incredible insights for a client, because it's moving beyond just a specific problem or a specific issue of, wanting something to happen or for a particular self transformation to happen. You are inviting them to be aware that can lead to a more generative change. Now, I am a little careful about these words generative because, they get cliched. Rather, I would say it's just these broad based changes, right? Such broad based changes that keep on giving new insights in new areas, which allows for a different opening and a spaciousness in the way your client can engage with the world. And this, as you would know as a coach, is one of the most preferred things, that your client is now able to make shifts in unexpected areas, and is able to embrace life and be able to be in the flow of life as they need. So I hope this episode was useful for you. If you have questions on how do we do the habits of perceptions, etc., please send me a comment. Maybe we'll do a demo of that. I also would like you to know that for those who are based in South Asia and uh, can join, actually you can be any part of the world to do the diploma. I will be starting my mental space psychology diploma program on November, actually the second Saturday of November, and it will proceed for 2 months, and it's online. And we'll be also doing a practitioner program. The practitioner program is actually a combination of the diploma online course along with 4 days of offline work here in Hyderabad. If you're interested, again, reach out to us. You can reach out at the email that we are providing below this YouTube, or you can send a message in your comment, and one of us, somebody will reach out to you. In the meantime, enjoy your mental spatial experience and enjoy coaching your clients. Bye bye.